everybody, welcome to our downtown studios. This is Fight News Now. I'm your host, John Ramdy, and alongside my pal, Robin Black. And there have been a ton of rumors swirling about Conor McGregor and his participation at UFC 197, which is scheduled to go down in March. But we don't know who his opponent is going to be or if he will indeed be fighting in the main event. Everybody's talking about Conor McGregor right now. After Rousey lost her title to Holly Holm, he is probably the biggest star in mixed martial arts. Frankie Edgar's pissed off. He said, I was told I was getting the next shot on 145 pounds. And the UFC might say, yes, you'll be getting the next shot at 145-pound gold. Unfortunately, Conor McGregor is going up to 155 pounds. Is this realistic? Do we anticipate that that's what's going to happen at this stage of his career?
So much to talk about, including these fights, the potential fights and how they come out. But, you know, it isn't the UFC who is going to decide whether Frankie is getting this. It's going to be Conor McGregor. And I know that bothers some people. It makes sense it would bother Frankie Edgar. And I know that sometimes we look at things and go, this isn't fair, that's not fair. But this is a life hack for you, my friends. We can look at what people are doing in the reality of how business works today, and we can learn from it and emulate it. What Conor McGregor did was make himself so valuable, he had something we call leverage. Leverage is that thing that you have where you get to dictate how it works, where it is so valuable for your employer to do what you want that they'll do it for you. That's what McGregor has done. He's reinvented the game. He's found new ways to work around the way that people strategize and execute fighting, and he's created himself enough leverage to do whatever he wants, and his employer isn't bowing down to him. His employer is going, wow, what you want will make us so rich, of course we'll do it. We can all do that in our jobs and our lives.
But we've had this discussion before. When Ronda Rousey was at the top of the mountain, it was irrelevant who her opponent was. You know, if you asked the casual fans or even the hardcore fans, you know, who Ronda's next opponent was, it really didn't make a difference. People were not tuning in to see Sarah McMahon. Sure, Miesha Tate, there was a little bit of interest there, but most people were tuning in to see Ronda Rousey. The same can be said with Conor McGregor. It really doesn't matter. I don't think the pay-per-view buys are going to be more significant at 155 pounds against RDA or Frankie Edgar. Everybody is tuning in to see Conor McGregor, and as everything this guy has been saying has been smoke and mirrors, because he talks about being the best fighter ever. It's not about making money. It's not about being a star. It's being the greatest martial artist of all time. And if you talk to a lot of people in the know, who is ranked in the pound-for-pound best in the world, who's ranked higher? Rafael Dos Anjos or Frankie Edgar? I think most people will say Frankie Edgar, and that this will be a better challenge, a tougher challenge for Conor McGregor. So if he gets to dictate, why isn't he dictating that?
Because he also likes gold things,
yeah.
You know? And hey, man, both these are ridiculously hard fights. Both of them are insanely challenging. And again, if we're looking to study those that are successful in any business, which is something we can all do and all should do if we want to make our lives more successful, there are routes that people are laying out. This guy is motivated by the challenges that he wants. Does he want a big, shiny gold belt and be a two-division challenge, or does he want to fight one of the pound-for-pound best in the world? Both are insanely tough fights. Rafael Dos Anjos comes forward. Both him and Verdum have developed into the ultimate pressure fighter. Why? Well, among the reasons, he is fearless of being taken down because he's better than you on the ground. He knows McGregor won't take him down. He can push forward behind his power. Interesting fight, though. McGregor moves laterally really well, and as we saw against Aldo and against almost anybody in his pre-UFC days, he's a counterpuncher moving back who can hurt you. Fascinating fight. Against Frankie is a little powerhouse who will put you on your back, but he's better than Mendez there. He's better at keeping you down. He cannot be broken. When you play with him mentally, Frankie will be immune to it. Both are insanely tough fights. The UFC will do whatever McGregor wants, and not because they're bending over for him, but because the money is where McGregor wants. Whatever McGregor wants results in money for them, and both those fights are insanely tough. And the audience, I don't know if we care.
Now, I think you bring up a number of interesting points there. For Conor McGregor, I know the goal is to challenge yourself, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's a work in progress. You know, you saw the Chad Mendes fight. He did get taken down. He managed to get back up, and it's like, oh, it's going to be a tougher challenge because Frankie Edgar, arguably a better wrestler, maybe a better MMA wrestler, his fight IQ a little higher than most at 145 pounds, maybe in the entire sport. And is this a better fight for him for Rafael Dos Anjos? Because you talk about pressure fighting, that's what he just dealt with Jose Aldo, a guy moving forward, and he talks about timing and precision, and maybe that plays perfectly into his hands.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people will ask me, you know, or call me a nut hugger, which I am. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know if there's many people in the world who have studied both technique and the mentality of combat sports together the way that I have. And those two things together come together in the way that McGregor is executing, the way that McGregor is performing. It is a big key to what he does is his mental strength, his desire to be challenged, his willingness to accept the reality of the challenge, and his drive to answer the riddles. But at the same time, it's my feeling that there are limits, like you said. Oh, great, you can beat Dos Anjos. Cool, why don't you fight Robbie Lawler now? Oh, cool, you beat Robbie Lawler. Why don't you fight Luke Rockhold? There are limits. I don't care who you are. Or are there? Because he believes there are no limits. He believes that if you beat Dos Anjos, you could go up to 170 and fight Robbie Lawler. I personally think there are limits, but I think this is the very edge that he's trying to push, is to prove that maybe there are no limits if you have a strong enough mentality.
It's a very interesting time for 145 pounds and 155 pounds. The lightweight division, probably the deepest it's ever been. And would that be appealing to Conor McGregor? When you look at the different challenges that lie ahead at 155 pounds, you have Anthony Pettis, you have Eddie Alvarez, you have Cerrone. I mean, Cerrone now is going up to 170 pounds. Crazy, crazy time. But are there better challenges for him at 155 pounds to push him to be a better martial artist, opposed to looking at 145 pounds? They said, well, everybody considered Jose Aldo to be the pound-for-pound best, the ruler of the featherweight division with an iron fist. The number 2 guy was Chad Mendes, arguably. Some people would say he was number 3 because Frankie's the guy. I took out both of those guys, so I need to test myself, and that's 155 pounds.
I like our perspective on this because we're understanding it does not matter what we want. It doesn't matter what the audience says, and it really doesn't matter what the UFC says. Conor McGregor is going to pursue what McGregor wants to pursue. I know Frankie deserves a title shot, and I know people say, finish that one and move on, but McGregor's going to do what McGregor's going to do.
Tune in to our preview show on Thursday at 6 p.m. UFC Fight Night Boston prelims. It goes down Sunday at 8 p.m., all leading up to the main event between TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz for the UFC Bantamweight Championship.